The presence of veterans in legislative bodies is not merely symbolic. Veterans bring to politics a distinct understanding of national interest, discipline, and a sense of responsibility shaped by their military service. Their experience instills an ability to deliberate on matters of war and peace, security, and the burdens borne by citizens in uniform. When those who have sworn to defend the nation's laws also help make them, the healthy integration of military and civilian spheres is enhanced, strengthening the very fabric of democratic governance. The statesman who has also been a soldier is armed not only with theories of national security, but with the tested realities of service and sacrifice. His judgment about the requirements of policy is tempered by direct knowledge of the costs of war and the limits of force. Military experience does not guarantee wisdom, but it provides an anchor against illusion and an appreciation for the discipline, unity, and responsibility that preserve a free society. And those right there are some quotes from a book called The Soldier and the State, written by Samuel P. Huntington, who graduated from Yale, served in the Army at the tail end of World War II, got a master's degree from the University of Chicago, a PhD from Harvard, and eventually became one of America's most influential political scientists and theorists. And his thoughts that I just read about the importance of veterans in our government are just as important then as they are now. Going from the military into the government provides a link between both of those and grounds them both in reality. And it's an honor to have one of those veterans leaders here with us tonight to discuss his experiences on the battlefield and now in the political world in the halls of Congress. His name is Wesley Hunt. He's a West Point graduate, Army Apache pilot, Iraq war veteran, and now a congressman representing the 38th Congressional District of Texas, the great state of Texas, as they say. Wesley, thanks for joining us, man. Great to meet you.
Thank you for having me on, brother. Thank you all very much.
Glad we could finally make this happen, man.
For sure.
You got a lot of stuff, a lot of experiences. Let's get right into it. Let's talk a little bit about your background growing up.
Okay.
What was that all like?
Background growing up, my dad's retired lieutenant colonel in the Army.
What do you do in the Army?
My dad was an adjutant general, and so graduated, did ROTC at Southern University, and then was active duty for a little while, then went reserves for a while in Houston, Texas, where my brother and I and sister were basically all born and raised.
Okay.
So my sister is West Point 93.
Dang, okay.
So she served 23 years active duty, military intelligence officer, deployed multiple times.
And she graduated in 93?
93.
So she's more my era of time.
She is your vintage, sir.
Check.
So and now, you know, she retired, lives in Houston, is doing awesome. I'm West Point 2004, so finished at West Point. Then did 8 years active duty as an Apache driver. Deployed to Iraq, flew 55 combat air missions in Baghdad, 2 tours of duty in Saudi Arabia, and then after that went to grad school at Cornell University, earned 3 master's degrees in 4 years. So the master's in business, public administration, industrial and labor relations, moved back home to God's country, that is Texas, sir. And then ran for Congress, and now here I am. And my brother is also a West Point graduate. So my brother is 10 months and 8 days my junior. So I always make sure the 8 days are always delineated because it's very important to us, very competitive. He is West Point 05. Okay. And then went into the Navy as a surface warfare officer.
Oh,
so he was stationed down here in San Diego.
Okay.
And then went to Harvard Business School after that. And so he's the only one that defected to the Navy and would give him a really hard time. But then I realized when I was stationed at Fort Hood and I got back from my deployment, he invited me down to San Diego. And this dude pulls up in his BMW convertible in his uniform, beautiful women, beautiful weather, you name it. And he goes, "Welcome to San Diego." And I'm like, damn it. You are the smart one. This is ridiculous. Fort Hood, Texas, San Diego, you get it.
Right, that played a role for me joining the Navy. So I was looking at all the different special operations. Yeah. And I grew up as a kid, I surfed in Maine, which is like there's not many surfers in Maine, and there definitely wasn't many surfers in Maine in the 80s.
Right.
So I was a surfer, and I looked at all the different special operations where I was trying to figure out what to do. And if you were in the SEAL teams, you were either stationed in Virginia Beach or San Diego. Each one had surfing, and I looked at all the other special operations. You weren't surfing, so that was one of the things, and also because I was a water guy, the SEAL teams made sense. But so when you were growing up, like at what age did you know the path you were going to take?
So we drove my sister up to West Point. So she's 10 years older than me, and my brother and I are 10 months apart, 10 and 10 years, 10 months. And so I was about 7 years old when we drove her up to West Point to do her plebe summer. And we drove from Texas, drove all the way up to West Point. And then when you're there and you're a 6-7-year-old little boy and you see West Point for the first time, something gets locked in.
That's all it took.
That's literally all it took. And we tried to fight it. I mean, we would say, we're not going to go to West Point. We're going to go to, my brother went to go to Harvard for undergrad, and I went to go to University of Michigan, and we would joke around. But when it came down to it, and when the rubber met the actual road, we were all going to West Point. I mean, it's just kind of what it was.
So knowing, though, that at a young age that you wanted to go there, at least you wanted as an option, that had to get you focused. Because you're not getting into West Point without doing the work.
So the good thing is that helps focus you. And then I had what I call parent privilege. There is no privilege in this country. There's only parent privilege, and also the privilege of being an American. Those are the only two privileges that I would ever deem in this country today. And so both of my parents didn't play games. You don't have 3 West Pointers coming from one house, growing up in a soft home. Okay, so my parents were very big on, you're going to serve this country. You're going to figure out how to preserve the lineage that got you here in the first place. You are not going to be a victim. My parents grew up in the Jim Crow era, and they're looking at us and looking at guys like me and their sons and their daughters becoming West Point graduates, United States congressmen as Republicans in white majority districts. And my parents were like, no, we don't play the games of the past. We always look forward. So you find a way to serve this country, which is exactly what we all did. And at one point, we were all in Baghdad at the same time. During in 2006. So I was by far the coolest flying Apaches. That's how.
So when you, as you,
like, what are you? It's true.
As you looked at, how did you map out? Okay, I'm going to go to West Point. That means I need to get these kind of grades.
Yes.
That means I need to get this in the SATs. That means I need to get this type of leadership kind of skills.
Yes.
I need to play these sports. Well, did you just package it up? Was that your focus?
The good thing is like, this is what I talk about parents. Like my dad and my mom, they were our Sherpas going through life. They were like, look, if you want to go to West Point, you have to do X, Y, and Z. But if you want to do anything excellent in this life, even if it's not West Point, this is what's required of you. And so, yes, we always played a sport. So I went from football to basketball to running track. All of our summers were filled with something spiritual, something physical, and something academic every single summer. And so you constantly pushed yourself to be a very well-rounded human being. And the one thing about my parents that I really appreciate, and one thing that I like about West Point, is it's not just one-dimensional. You have to be good at everything, basically. There is a bar that you have to meet. You have to meet a military bar, an academic bar, a physical bar. You can't just max out your SAT, but you can't lift your body weight. That's just not going to work. And so in areas that you are deficient, you have to work on those areas to get them proficient enough to meet the standard. And that's kind of the house that we grew up in. My brother was definitely more the brainiac. I was more of the physical guy, and my sister was more the personality kind of person. But we were actually pretty decent at everything and being well-rounded human beings. And that started in the home with my parents.